Hi, it's Debbie Gilbert, and I'm the host of the Business Awards Show and founder of the Best Businesswomen Awards and the Best SME Awards. And today I am delighted to be joined by Natalie Burkinshaw, who is a strategic and creative director with over 30 years' experience working with ambitious, technically led businesses, particularly in engineering and technology. Natalie is the founder of Crush, a brand and design agency knowing for helping complex, often technical organizations communicate their value with clarity, creativity, and impact. Her work sits right at the intersection of strategy, design, and storytelling, bringing brands to life in a way that truly connects. She's also a passionate advocate for the digital and tech community, playing an active role in initiatives that bring people together, share knowledge, and champion innovation at a local level. Despite having a business for 30 years, 2025 was the very first year that Natalie entered Business Awards, and she walked away with 5 awards by the end of 2025. One of those was the Gold Award at the Best Businesswomen Awards. So today we're going to talk about her business, her journey, the challenges in her industry and all the innovation that's going on at the moment, and also about her award journey, which began last year, but really has put her business on the map. So welcome, Natalie. It's lovely to see you again.
Thank you, Debbie.
How are you?
I'm all good, thank you. I'm really looking forward to this conversation today. It sounds like you have done some research on me. So
Well, we do like to do a bit of research on the guests and find out more about them, but you've had a really, really long journey in business because, the statistics are quite clear that most businesses don't last longer than 5 years. So to get to 30 years is an incredible achievement. So talk me through what led you to start up Crush and talk us through a bit about your journey so far.
Well, I mean, I always wanted to be a graphic designer ever since I was really small. Probably quite an unusual career choice in the 80s, but I did. That's what I wanted to do. I went on to university and studied brand design and started work in agencies. But then I had my first son. I became a single mom, and those agency hours were really tricky. I think the racing to know at the end of the day, it became so stressful. And so I just made the decision. Just one day, I said, I'm going to freelance. I'm going to quit my job, and I'm going to try and build something. I think I mean, I have worked in the industry for 30 years, and I set Crush up nearly 23 years now. So I'd worked in the industry for quite a while. Perhaps in hindsight now at my age, it was probably quite a brave move, but obviously I'm glad I did. So I started from there. I started freelancing and grew the business, and now we're a team of 11. Still independent, still working really hard, but at least I can now provide a place to work where other mums and dads work. I can be understanding about that work-life balance, but still know that we can win fantastic clients and deliver really good projects.
Amazing. So, I mean, obviously, there's so many changes going on at the moment. So, how has the industry changed over those years?
Well, I mean, when I first started, websites weren't even a thing, and
Ugh.
smartphones certainly weren't. So I think it's really, apart from the technical challenge, as obviously everyone now has a website. You know, digital profiles are important. We all have LinkedIn pages. We all have materials to better market our business. But I think there are two fundamental changes. I mean, one is that there's a much better understanding of brand. When I studied at university, it was to study brand, but back then we were told that the likes of Marks and Spencers and Richard Branson's Virgin were brands. Now, brand is strategy. You know, having a brand, no matter how big your business or how small your business is really understood. And that makes the work a lot more interesting. You know, creating those stories, creating those kind of strategic frameworks for a business, there's so much less friction in how you convince someone to actually go with it and be brave and get themselves out there and reposition themselves. So I think that's been a really positive change within the industry.
Mm.
I think obviously AI, the topic that everyone is talking about. I mean, 12 months ago, everyone was like, designers are dead, you know, AI is going to take over. Yes, they will. Am I worried? No. I think if we look at the amount of what's now called AI slop that goes out there, everyone's image looks the same, everyone's narrative reads the same. So actually, it makes our job a lot easier. You know, we are in a position where we can create those distinctive stories. We can help businesses stand out. It's not to say we don't use AI. We certainly use it as a tool. But in terms of what we do and our design work, our development work, our strategy work, it's still done by humans. So I think it's just finding that balance, using it for what it's good for, but knowing that there's a real opportunity for agencies to actually help businesses differentiate.
And then you sort of niched a lot in the technical side of industries. What was the thought process behind that?
I think I come from a family where engineering was certainly my dad, my grandfather. So I think I have quite an interest in that side of it. I've always preferred working B2B, and I've always really enjoyed working with engineering firms, that kind of engineering, manufacturing, tech side of it. That complexity of challenge is the type of project that we really love. I mean, I think historically, those sorts of businesses were always told that they didn't need brand. It was not helpful for
Yeah,
them. They just
true.
needed a logo and they could get away with doing that. But actually, it's nonsense. I mean, I think those businesses with the more complex stories need the most help. You know, the buying decisions are really long, those processes, there's high value to these contracts. So actually, having the support of good brand strategy is really important for that sector.
Yeah, because they need to stand out because there will be other companies doing something similar to them.
Yeah,
So, yeah.
yeah, I think it's much harder to differentiate within the kind of tech and engineering sector.
Mhm.
There are people doing lots of very similar things. So using brand as a commercial advantage is, you know, it's a really exciting opportunity.
And you mentioned very fleetingly, but I was very impressed that you'd grown to 11 staff.
Yeah.
So, you know, how have you grown that? Has your business grown via word of mouth, or has it been networking, or has it been sort of other means? You know, what have you done to grow your business to that level?
Predominantly it is word of mouth and reputation. And I think certainly the first agency that I ever worked in, it was the real backbone. So I had a good foundation, a good solid learning experience there. And very quickly I realized that actually your reputation is everything. And that's not just from our perspective, but that's any business. So it's really, really high on our list of values to retain that integrity, to retain that reputation and deliver what we say we're going to. Consequently, from that, you know, some of our clients we've had for 14, 15, 16 years, and we've still worked with them, evolved with them, rebranded with them. And that's just amazing, really, to be able to say that. And recommendations come so highly. There are so many design agencies out there. So every time we are recommended, every time someone does sort of give us a, you know, a good testimonial or a good referral, and I really do value that.
Yeah, it's amazing when that happens. So where did the name come from, Crush? What was the
Oh
thought behind
goodness.
that?
I do actually get asked this a lot, and I don't actually have a good answer for it. I think I think back then I was just trying to find a domain name that was available, and it kind of stuck. If I'm being brutally honest, it was a bottle of wine and two really good girlfriends. I decided that that was that. Bought the domain, got it done, and kind of embarked on that journey really. So yeah, it stuck.
And do you work with clients all over the place or just locally to where you're based?
No, we work globally, which has been, I guess, another accomplishment within the growth of the business. I think historically, you start off small, you work on smaller projects, you grow from there, and you earn the trust, you get bigger projects. I mean, now we work with really good, big global brands, whether that be in engineering and manufacturing, but with other brands like Ministry of Sound. And having that kind of global focus is certainly something that's grown over the years. And again, something that I'm really proud of. We've certainly won our first international award, and I'm sure we'll talk about awards in a minute. But having that recognition and that growth within certainly European clients has been something I'm really proud of.
So the Ministry of Sound is one of your clients.
Yeah, I know. Not
Amazing.
all, they don't always pick London agencies.
That's
So yeah,
great. No,
I
that's a good point actually, that 'cause you're not based in London, are you? Where are you based?
we're based just on the edge of the Peak District, so just south of Sheffield, in a town called Chesterfield. So probably quite an unusual place to have a design agency. But I can get into London really quickly. The
Yeah.
connections are really good. I've got somewhere great for my kids to grow up in the countryside. Um, so yeah, we do actually have a lot of London clients. I think part of that is the reality is we are cheaper. You know, we
Mm,
don't have the high cost of overheads that you do in London. Um, but I do have a very senior team, and half of the staff are worked in London agencies. So I've got that real kind of high caliber of team. But for whatever reason, they've all migrated to the Midlands. We're all raising families,
yeah.
and enjoying the best of both worlds, really. So able to work in the big cities, whether that be London or Manchester, Leeds, or so on. But yeah,
That's
thank
good though. It's proof that, you can make a successful business in any part of the UK, not just London centric. I love that. I love the
you.
fact that you've
I
made this
think I think that having the ability, I think COVID forced everyone to do meetings online, didn't it? I mean, that's sort of one of the outcomes of that, awful period. But it did mean that there was an elevated trust. So it wasn't that you had to be in a meeting all the time. You could commission work and have it delivered without actually meeting people in person. And obviously that stayed post COVID.
Mm.
So it is beneficial. People are a lot more trusting now. It isn't just hiring a freelancer on the internet. It is now able to commission an agency to work with that maybe isn't down the road, and you are able to get the standard of work that you want. So I think that certainly helped.
Brilliant.
Mm.
Okay, well, let's talk about awards because, as
Mhm.
I mentioned at the start, I was quite surprised, to be honest, when you told me before we started recording that last year was the very first year you'd ever entered awards, and by the end of the year, you'd won five.
I
So,
know.
talk me through. Let's explore first of all why you didn't enter awards up to last year, and then share, what your strategy then was.
Okay. Well, I would definitely say that I suffer from imposter syndrome. I'm not the most naturally extrovert person, which is sometimes a bit of a challenge when you're running a business and you have to walk and do pitch presentations and so on. Um, but actually, when I was talking to a friend and she was like, you've run this business for over 20 years now. We'll be
Mm.
23 this year, worked in the industry over 30 years. Um, must have a lot of experience. But I always felt that everyone else did it better. I always felt that people's projects were better. I always felt that people ran a business better, that they were a better boss or whatever. And my friends really encouraged me and said, "No, come on, let's just give it a go. Give it a go." So we actually went for it. We did enter 5 awards and had success at all of them. And it was quite an incredible year. Yeah, 14 months. So and not small awards either. I first of all entered the Novi Awards, and got highly commended in my category. Um, we won 2 design-specific awards, so that included the German Design Council for one of our international clients, and also the Transform Awards, which is a design industry award. And then I was shortlisted for Women in Business, and then I won your award.
Amazing. And you came along, I think, to the Best Business Women Awards and noticed that you were sitting at the back of the room.
Yeah.
And I remember talking to one of our sponsors who was on your table, and she said, Natalie didn't expect to win, because she was sat at the
Right.
back of the room.
Literally did not. I mean, I went, obviously I got shortlisted, and that was, that for me in itself is so special. And I don't want to underestimate that. To be shortlisted for an award is an incredible achievement,
Mm,
especially when I saw who I'd been shortlisted with. I mean, there are some amazing winners across all the categories, and you certainly do not expect to win something like that. But yeah, we went. I actually took my dad as my plus one. The whole of the team were working really hard on delivering an event. So I took him as my plus one, and I was like, "Oh, Dad, we're at the back. I don't think that's a good sign." I said, "We'll go. We'll enjoy the meal." We had a lovely time. People on our table. I said, "We'll have a few drinks and then we'll go. It'll be fine." But no, it was not meant to be. So yeah, then my name was called, and I literally didn't believe it. My dad got up and cheered like Liverpool had just won the league. And I just looked at him, and he was like, "You've won! You've won!" And yeah, I remember just getting up, shaking, and having this incredibly long walk down.
Yeah, you had the longest walk of the night.
And just every step I was thinking, I can't believe it. I can't believe that out of that group of amazing women, I have won the award. So it was, yeah, very, very special. Thank you.
Oh, I'm so pleased that that you won that. It was incredible. So what's come out of the awards for you so far? What have been the positive outcomes of it?
Well, I think in the first instance, obviously, there's a recognition. So I immediately messaged the team who were working very hard, and and they were obviously delighted. And I think certainly you having those award wins last year, I didn't realise how important and how much it meant to the team. And I think perhaps as a boss, I'd underestimated. It's all very well for me to say you've done a good job, that's a really nice project, you've got some great client feedback, but to get recognition like that really did make a difference. So I think internally as a business, it was something really special. Externally, I mean, to be able to go onto LinkedIn and say that you've won this award and get all that fantastic feedback is obviously a really lovely experience. But now we are an award-winning agency. We've gone from being, fantastic design agency, but to be able to say you're award-winning really does make a difference. Not only say on your website, but also in those pitch documents, in the way that you have a conversation. And I guess because I'm a little bit of an introvert, it always felt a little bit like, oh, you've won an award. But actually, you have won an award, so be proud of it. So that like additional confidence that you get from how you position your business is an unexpected bonus.
Yeah, definitely. And I think from a confidence angle, but also from a business credibility angle, it will no doubt help you secure new clients in the future as well.
Oh, 100%. And I think also there's that technical aspect from marketing. I think as we shift from the world of SEO into LLM, that credibility piece is incredibly important. And I think certainly it's given us the encouragement that, we will enter more awards. We will take that chance. We will do those write-ups and spend the time doing award entries because we really do see that tangible benefit.
And I like the fact you went for a mix of things. So you've got the recognition yourself as a businesswoman, but you went for some design specific awards as well. So I think that's a really good strategy to have, have that mix of things. So what awards are you looking at for 2026? Anything on your radar?
Yes, a couple. There's a couple of more design specific ones, but are people led. So there's an award called 40 over 40, which is for kind of more design leadership. Certainly, we're going to be launching some client projects in the next couple of months that I'm going to enter some more design awards for sure. They're looking absolutely fantastic. The team have worked really hard on them, and of course for them, having those kind of industry awards, those design awards, is a real kind of coup. So certainly we'll be looking at that mix again this year.
Good, good. So all sounds great. So over 30 years in the industry, so we sort of touched a bit about the changes, but what advice would you give to someone building a creative or strategic business at the moment? What sort of things would you share that you've learnt along the way?
I think start a business that you know that you love. Don't go for the money. I mean, to to be honest, to be doing this over 20 years later, and I still love my job. I still absolutely love what I do every day, the challenges that we get, the briefs that we get. But the business has evolved. We weren't building websites 20 odd years ago, but now we are. AI, what was that, at the start of the journey? And I think having that foundation, having that love, having that passion for what you do, not only does it come through in the work that you do and the way that you sell it and that sort of commercial aspect, but it's important for me that the team feel that they work somewhere that everyone loves. I have a fantastic team. Um, and some of them have worked, well, a lot of them have worked for me for over 10 years. So that longevity piece, we couldn't do that if we didn't love what we do. And I think that evolution as well, I think often people will start a business, they kind of do what works, they stick to it, and they don't really change or evolve. And that, it's certainly in our sector, can be quite dangerous. I think you have to be open to new ways of working, certainly new styles and trends, that you have to keep up with it all the time. But I think that's part of the success. That's part of your strategy, that kind of evolution. Remembering the bits you do enjoy, remembering, certainly we have our preferred sectors that we work in, but it doesn't mean we stand still. We want to kind of apply newer techniques, newer ways of working, new strategy methods into that work. And certainly, I'm looking forward to the next few years, seeing what that brings to the industry. But yeah, just choose something that you love doing, because even when it's really, really difficult, even when you have really tricky years and tricky times, at least you can turn up to work knowing that it's something you enjoy doing.
So true. That is so true. So we're talking to all our guests at the moment about AI. And
Mm.
obviously your industry has been impacted by AI. I mean, are
Yeah.
there any tools that you're using that you'd like to share that you think are amazing, or how has your business embraced it?
I think two sides to it really. So from my perspective, using it to kind of help the day-to-day work that perhaps would take longer to do, maybe sort of reports and things like that.
Mm.
Yes, it does give you a big head start. And so in that sense, using it as a tool. I think for the designers and developers in the team, I'm giving them the space to be able to explore it and see what that means. So whether that's from a design perspective, um, or from a coding perspective. And there's lots of kind of pluses and minuses, isn't there? I mean, obviously it does things very quickly and that's really helpful. But from a security point of view, how does that work? From a design point of view, we've had tools available within our software like Photoshop for quite a while. Are they great? Not really. We can still do things manually much faster. So I think we're at a real space of creative exploration, working out, the good, the bad, and the ugly, what actually works for us, but what keeps us distinctive. We don't want to be in a space where someone goes, "Oh gosh, you've used AI to do that." I mean, that would be awful. So
Mm.
it's just finding that balance of where it can help you make something more efficient or help deliver something for a client more quickly, and support what they're trying to do, but retain the human element as well. So definitely AI as a tool.
What particular platforms are you using?
Claude is the big favourite at the moment, and I think that's probably quite industry wide.
Mm.
I think it's got quite a lot of different aspects to it that the team use. So, like I say, whether it is creating frameworks or supporting client with revisiting and sorting out copy or data or facts and figures. Whereas some of the designers are using it to kind of jumpstart animation work into coding and things like that. So that's definitely our kind of favourite tool at the minute.
Do you use any video creation tools?
No, not at the minute. It's not something we necessarily do. So it's not, yeah, I know that the video companies that we partner with probably do, but it's not something we necessarily use at the minute.
Drives me mad seeing all these fake videos that are on
Well, that's the problem, isn't it? They look dreadful.
They
And I think
do.
I think fundamentally, I mean, we still get asked, someone will, companies will ring up and say, well, could you just do this really quickly in AI for me? And it's like, well, no, the answer is no. That's not what we're here to supply. But also, you have to know what good looks like.
Mm.
You can produce all sorts of anything. But I think jumping on AI trends or using it to write your copy and losing your own voice is just really sad. I think there are lots of creative people within the industry that are sort of trying to find that balance between using it. And I mean, like I say, that's great. There are lots of people who do that, and that's fine. And they're not our customers. But I think for agencies like us who will figure out the best tools to use and the best ways to use it, then it'd probably be incredibly helpful.
Yeah, and I think we're still going to need human beings on the end of the
Of
keyboard
course.
telling the AI what to do. And this is the thing where everybody's panicking about it all. But I think we have to step back and go, well, actually, these tools will be useful to enhance the work that we're doing or to support the work we're doing or for ideation. But they're not a replacement for people like yourself who've done this job for so long and really understand what good quality design looks like.
Yeah,
And it
that's it.
can,
You
yeah,
have to know what good looks like. You have to know what
exactly.
will commercially work. And you have to be in a position where you can evaluate that well. So, and I think that's where lots of people are kind of getting unstuck at the minute.
Yeah, so true, so true. So what are your plans over the next couple of years for Crush Design?
We're about to launch two sort of strategy offerings, one called operating brands and one called living brands, which are two slight sort of methodologies that we're using to help businesses kind of fast track that strategy support and development. So operating brands is focusing more on that kind of tech and commercial engineering side. And then living brands on kind of more the storytelling, the emotional connection. So I think having worked in this industry for a long time, I think for a client, it's still quite hard to understand. It's a bit of a black art, isn't it? What is brand? How do you develop it? So we've kind of developed two processes that we can help guide clients through to get the right outcome for them. So they're being launched later this month, which I'm really looking forward to. And as I think a lot of companies are now at a point where they know that a rebrand is important. So we're working on quite a few at the minute, really sort of quite large rebrand projects that I'm looking forward to launching for them and definitely entering some of those awards.
It must be quite satisfying, to be honest, to get hold of
Very
somebody's brand and change it to something much better.
incredible, incredibly satisfying. I think getting there, and that is the bit that we genuinely find exciting. Like every brief that comes in, you just immediately like, because we could do this, we could do that, let's pull it apart, let's ask the questions, let's really get down to the nitty gritty of it. But fundamentally, it has to solve a commercial problem. So at the end of the day, we want it to be a success. So you're kind of challenging these briefs, really developing them, and getting to the kind of real nitty gritty of the problem, providing these solutions, and just being able to present back someone's company to them, showing that story, and just watching them be amazed that you've kind of interpreted all they've done, all their hard work, into a fresh kind of look, a fresh new story, how we can help them commercially, how it can be positioned, and then it really is the best bit of the job.
It's like watching somebody give birth, isn't it? It's like that whole
Love
new
it.
experience where you're like, oh wow,
I think
love it.
watching them roll it out and seeing how passionate people are, and how, when you nail a brief and everyone in the room's really excited about it, you just know that they're going to do great things with it. Our bit is almost the easy bit. We create this vision for them, and then we're handing it over and we're helping them deploy it. And they can sort of see that commercial success, that return on investment, but just using it, seeing that re-engagement of staff, it serves so many purposes on so many levels, and seeing that kind of success it's really nice.
Oh, that's amazing. Well, thank you for joining me today. It's been great having you
Thank
on the show, talking through all of this aspects of design. So, if you've been listening to today's episode and you're thinking you need a refresh and a rebrand, we'll make sure that Natalie's details are in the show notes. Natalie, thank you for joining me, and I wish you continued success.
Thank you very much.